All right, welcome back, guys, and happy holidays as well. Hope everyone's doing fantastic. So it's been quite some time since I did a video on coins that I intend on sending out to grading. Um, Throughout the course of this year, I've put together, a few pieces here and there, things that I personally want to have graded, more so as kind of like, let's see what happens. Not really any expectations. I think with coin grading, whether you use PCGS or NGC, you need to have that kind of mentality. Sometimes it's not all about making the money, but when the pieces come to you and they kind of speak to you, okay, what are you going to do with them? For me, it's a little bit different. A lot of the pieces that I'm going to have graded are going to end up staying in my collection. Okay, they're not going to go anywhere. It's really just for investment, for that rainy day, and ultimately, what I want to treat my collection is going to be something that that can be passed down to my kids, and then they could go ahead and do what they please with it. Of course, it's all going to be instructed. You sell on a auction site or whatever it is, so that way it's not all guesswork. But I have a number of coins here. I think I have about 15 that I'm going to send out probably after the first of the year, and I'm leaning more towards PCGS. And there's a pretty good reason. There's a few toned coins that I have in this lot that do a lot better with PCGS than it does with NGC. NGC can be a little bit funny sometimes, grading, especially like toned silver eagles, because they're so new, right? And they're a little bit more strict on toning, and then sometimes the correct progressed toning coins, might end up not coming back the way that you want to from NGC. And PCGS, they're kind of like the gold standard today for a lot of grading in general. That it just seems natural to use them. It's going to be easier to sell in the long run. But another thing that you're going to notice in the coins I'm going to send out is that I'm not just willy nilly sending out like new modern coins. And that's kind of like where a lot of people's mentality is, especially the newer collectors, where they feel like that they have to be reaching this particular standard that maybe fulfills the registry market, which is top graded modern coins. And I could tell you this right now, that particular group of coins is probably one of the most difficult to obtain any sort of measurable grade that will benefit you in the long run. And the coins in general are not really investable. They're meant to be sold to a registry set where all they care about is the highest grade, and at any one given time, that particular grade can be dethroned by one that's maybe a half a point grade higher. It's only a matter of when, not if, that happens. And that's why I tend to stay away from coins like that. All right. So let's go ahead and talk about a few. These, by the way, are a few of the pickups that I had just obtained. Whatnot had actually these for sale with the exclusive Whatnot labeling on there. So they had graded a number of the uncirculated piece of Morgan dollars, and mid-state 69. They were admittedly quite pricey. These were $135, I believe, for a 69, where you could get a 70 for about the same price. But since I saw on this platform, I decided, I'm gonna go ahead and buy one and just hold on to it. Again, what's the expectation? Really isn't any. It's just buying it so that way I have one in my collection, and that's just a personal preference. Nothing about investing or to flip or anything like that. You guys know my affinity for Canadian coins. Here's a beautiful 1951 quarter. That's a what they call high relief. All right, so it's a little bit deeper deeper design and face of the coin with the relief really popping off there. And that's all your design devices. This one is a 64 grade. Very nice satiny flavor to it. I love it. And then I've never personally owned a Greenland coin, so I ended up buying this one at the local show in Sacramento in an old soapbox annex slab, which is kind of cool. Mid-State 62. This is a 1 crone, and this one is, believe it or not, a very nice variety. It's got the hole in the heart and the double struck heart, which is right above the second line right there. All right, so not all of them have that. And it's, pretty neat. And it's very unlikely that I'll crack this out and regrade it anywhere else because I just love the vintage holders in that particular way there. So let's see. There was a coin in here that I have no plans on grading. It's actually this one here. It's just neat. I ended up picking this one up for a few bucks from the Sacramento show, but we're all familiar with the Good Luck encased coins. And traditionally, a lot of them are aluminum. This one is not. This one is kind of like a hard plastic, 1948, much nicer looking condition. Lincoln set in there, but this is from McDowell Chevrolet in Dodge City, Kansas. Pretty neat and quite scarce. This is a scarce one here. I might have to take a look at a buddy's encased scent attribution book and find out what the rarity is on this particular one. But I saw it. It was like, I couldn't beat the price with a stick. It ended up being like $3-4. And I was like, yeah, this one will definitely be a nice one just to keep around because it's a tougher version. All right, so in no particular order, I have my list of coins that I'm going to be sending out next month to PCGS. So leading off first, I have a couple of these Irish early coins. This 1949. They call this a pingan. So 1 pingan is the denomination. But this one's in really nice shape. This one should be an AU, probably like an AU 55-ish. It's got a nice brown color, very minimal wear on the high points of the coin. And something like this, and they're tougher dates too. I actually have another one right here that's much nicer and it has a much better look that I'm really excited for. But I want to see how PCGS grades these coins. And even if it came back AU 55, that's still going to be about a $50-60 coin. Nothing too crazy. I'm sending it out, with the expectation that there is no expectation. And, it's a very attractive coin that I want in my collection and not to resell. Here's the other one here. This is a 46. This one I would say is a Mid-State Brown. You could just tell right off the bat that this one looks and appears a lot different than the previous coin we just looked at. But overall, this is just a really pretty looking coin. Great surfaces. It's got little pockets of kind of like a proper alloy mix, but all at the same time has hints of glossy, like olive colored to the copper. That just it grabbed me the moment that I saw it, and I'm like, oh, okay. Now this one right here, I think probably would grade about 63 or 64 brown. And in that grade, you're talking about $150 to $200 coin. Again, nothing earth shattering, nothing that I would say I'm gonna go and like flip this, as soon as I get it back. But realizing that the coin looks like this, I think it's just gonna look really good in my collection. And I also have this one. I've held on to this one for a while. This 1957 20 centavos Mexico. This one has some pretty toning on there. Some nice targeted red and magenta to go along with the copper. And then you have little pockets of like blue right there. You can even see a little bit along the edge right here. All right. So this one was probably in some sort of holder at one point. But coins of Mexico, Central America, South America, they are on the rise right now. A lot of the Latin America, pesos and coppers and things like that, especially when they look like this, have been selling for quite a bit more than what they did, say, 5 years ago. And we're beginning to see that shift in the marketplace as more people recognize that the beauty of this, like South American and Mexican coinage from this time period and going back is kind of like, what's drawing a lot more interest. And not to mention that a lot of people are really in love with the Libertads and, the emergence of the Libertad as being one of the premium bullion pieces today that just kind of carried over into the numismatic coin market as well. I figured I would just go ahead and do all the world coins, and I have a couple more left here. This one was one that I acquired just recently. 1873, Great Britain florin. So this is a really pretty all original coin. A little bit darker, but this one probably is like a VF20. These early Victorian era coins are really expensive today. So finding one that is problem free, which is kind of like half the battle because most of them are generally cleaned, which they're pretty easy to see. But this one that's all original, in spite of it being a little bit darker patinaed coin, is stunning. And that they call it Gothic florin because of the dress she's wearing, and these generally tone darker. So that's another thing that kind of like that makes the name correct for this type of coin. The only one that's better than the florin would obviously be the crown, the earlier Victorian era, Queen Victoria era of crowns are so ridiculously expensive right now. And because of that, a lot of people are gravitating toward the florins, and then now these are starting to shoot up in value. These are closely resembling the size and appearance of a standard US half dollar. All right. And again, that's a very popular size of coin. And then the final world coin that I'm going to be sending out is going to be an unusual one. This is a South Africa 1948 5 shillings. All right, so these have quite a low mintage. This one, I believe, is 300,000. And this is a very attractive coin with lots of color on there. It's a very, very stunning coin. I'm willing to bet that this one looks pretty good with a true view. And that's kind of my curiosity with it, is that I want to see what the true view looks like. They're just like high-res photos that PCGS does on these, and it's worth a couple extra bucks for them. But I'm very, very interested in knowing more about what the colors are. I see a lot of blues. I see some of that fiery red and orange in there. It's just kind of like a dog dish of various kind of like colors, irrespective to the actual coin. I know Krugerrands are quite popular, although they're not toward the level of like Silver Eagles and Libertads and pandas, Chinese pandas. But the overall design of the Krugerrand, kind of carries over to what we saw in the shillings. I also have in my collection that I just obtained, I believe it was a 1950 5 shillings from South Africa, which has a really low mintage, under 100,000. So yeah, pretty big difference. And these are kind of underrated in the marketplace today. It just might be because of where this comes from. South Africa, is not a region of the world that a lot of people collect from. Plus, you don't see a ton of like much older coins out in the marketplace from this region as well. All right, so we do have some U.S. coins. We have kind of like, well, actually, I got one more world coin. I lied here. So I have this earlier Edward VII Canadian quarter that I had picked up on Whatnot. It's a pretty nice example, although I am doubting that it will be mid-state. Probably it'll be like this looks like a prototypical slider coin, which is like an AU58. But you can see just the luster's correct. It's never been cleaned. And that's what I like about these earlier type pieces from Canada. So, yeah, we're going to try this one on for size as well. Throw that one in the mix and see what it comes back as. All right, so here's a few selections of US that will be in there. This one was given to me by a friend, and this is actually a very nice Cherry Picker's Guide variety. 1970D Roosevelt dime, doubled die reverse. It's the FS802. It says mid-state 60, but it looks to be much higher than that. You know, probably a 64, 65 grade. Looks like it came out of a BU roll possibly, but this is a very, very strong double to die, and I don't have a magnifier to show you guys, how this one looks. But if you were curious, you could always go on to like Variety Vista and take a look at what the doubling looks like on the 70D Rosie. And it's a phenomenal shape as well. I have a few nickels I've been holding on to that these were pulled out of an old Dansko album. And Dansko albums, the further back you go, the materials used to produce those albums were not archival safe. So the chemicals in them reacted to the coins, producing some really gnarly looking colors. This 1947D nickel, check that out. Simply beautiful. And the coloring is all correct. There's nothing unnatural about it. And based off of where this coin came from, I expect that this thing is going to be a monster. It even has full steps, no interrupting nicks or marks on the steps either, which is quite nice. I also have this 40D that came from the same album. It's got a little bit of color. But nothing too crazy. Again, I'll probably true review all of these. This one has also full steps as well. I suspect that the person that put this set together really, really deep dive and picked some of the best quality coins with the best strike on them. All right, so I'm excited to see what these ones will come back as. I'm not a big nickel grader guy, so this is going to be kind of like my first foray into doing so. Here's a 40D as well with some color. More noticeable on the back, but not as crazy as that 47 that we looked at a few coins ago. But overall, very clean, robust luster, clean cheek, clean kind of like temple area. The hair is very nice. You know, we don't see a lot of high wear or plancha nicks on this coin, which is kind of like par for the course for the series. I saved this one. I just want to see a true view of this 56 Washington quarter, but you can see the luster swirl in there, the very nice cartwheels, the back of it's nice and white. This was a roll ender to one of the BU rolls of 56 quarters that I had obtained about 5 months ago. That I ended up selling all the coins in the rolls with exception of this one because of how the toning looks on there. So we'll try that one off for size with a true view. We also have this 1905 full red Indian head set. That's a beauty. Yeah, we don't see full red Indians anymore that aren't graded. So this one is going to make its way into a holder, and full red Indian head sets in like grades of 64 and up are monsters. So I'm looking forward to getting the results on that one. Got a few bigger coins. I have a gold piece too that I'm gonna try for size. So I was presented an opportunity to buy one of my bucket list coins, and it's going to be this 2000 piece Sacagawea dollar, Wounded Eagle. All right, you could actually see without getting in too close the raised die gouge going right through the breast feathers and going into the wing right there. If we get in just a little bit closer, you can see it even better. There you go. All right, and this is a very, very, very high grade example at that. I've been excited to own one at this grade level. I would expect it would grade 65 at the minimum. I do not see anything wrong with this coin. There's no carbon spots. This one is a beauty. And, if this thing grades out like a 66 or 67, it's going to be such a huge coin. We're talking $1,000 plus for something like this. For a coin that I had paid essentially $110 for, and it was worth every penny. I would not hesitate to buy another one if it came available from that same seller. Yeah, here's the one Silver Eagle that I was a little bit curious on. 1999 Silver Eagle. I bought at a local coin shop, but you can see a little bit of toning here on the peripheral or the edge of the coin, which indicates that this one was sitting in a holder. Okay, and I'm thinking an H.E. Harris holder, the ones that have the colored insert in there. Um, but check this out. Whew, man, that color on the reverse is a welcome sight. All right, so you have the oranges and yellows here, and it progresses to greens and blues, and it starts to get darker here with some of the magentas and those type of colors. And this thing is just a stunner. So when I look at this and then I look at this, I'm like, yep, that's a H.E. Harris holder progressed toner. And those were holders that were around all the way up to about 2002. So there are two different types of legit toners for Silver Eagles: the H.E. Harris toners and the PCI holder coins that tone as well. The much older PCIs from the 90s, which they were a grading company. They're not around anymore. But yeah, those ones had some pretty amazing toning on them. And it's all because of the environment, the holders that they were sitting in. So looking forward to seeing this one. I would say it's probably a 67 grade. There's a few like tiny little trivial marks on there that will prevent it from being like a 68 or 69. But yeah, nonetheless, pretty cool coin there. I love nice colors. This one was an incredible acquisition. It's an 1891 CC. You could see the luster in there, but at the same time, and this is kind of like where I'm kind of curious, does this thing have a ton of circulation wear? Or I mean, it does have like little tiny little chatter and all that stuff, which obscures the overall kind of like high mid state quality luster that you want. So I see this coin and I'm like, wow, it has a really thick toned skin to it that has developed over many decades. But at the same time, it's probably been through a few hands. And because of that, you can see kind of like the little bit of wear right there at the tip of the bust. I look at this and I'm like, okay, well, we probably have like an AU58 slider on our hands right here, because, it is right on the cusp. I think if there were less contact marks and less, kind of like a little bit of rub on there, we might be talking about mid-state 61. But just looking at, how incomplete the luster, especially on the cheek right here, where it's kind of like not smooth and fluid as it kind of circles around the coin. Yeah, I think I would disqualify this as being a mid-state. But even in AU58, this is a pretty big coin. This will end up being probably $400 or $500 even in that grade, and it's such a wildly just original coin, right? It's never been dipped or any of that stuff. It's pretty. I like that one. So we'll see. And by the way, it's the Spitting Eagle VAM, which is quite common for that. Sounds like someone's at my door, but this is one I'm very excited about. 1885 Morgan dollar, single-sided toner. Cannot believe this is not in a graded holder yet. But I picked this one up for $75, and that might be the bargain of the year for me. So we'll see how this goes, but that is just a beautiful, fully encapsulated, colorful coin right there. And very original too. The progression of the colors from the yellows to the magentas, blues, and everything like that is correct for toning progression on these Morgans. And then finally, this one right here, I haven't sent a gold coin to grading in quite some time, so we do have one here. 1887 $1 Indian Head Princess. I'm very excited about this one. Grading wise, I mean, it looks really nice. I look at this, I'm like, okay, we're probably at like 63, 64 level of coin here. Let's see, we get a little bit closer. But believe it or not, this is a very low mintage coin. To where I believe only let me see here. Trying to find my book and I don't know where it's at, but I'd have to say it's like 7,500 pieces made of 1887, which is very low. It might seem low, but a lot of them did survive in much nicer grades like this. And the big reason why is that this particular denomination, the $1 golds, didn't circulate as much because you had the Morgan dollars and the trade dollars. So between those two, those coins circulated more, and then these did not, making a vast population of that 7,500 coins or whatever the mintage is on this one much more readily available in mid-state grades. All right. But that notwithstanding, if this one came back at 64, this is going to be a $1,600 coin. So, that's kind of like the benefit of, trying to find raw is identifying coins that, people are a little bit shy or timid or don't know anything about the grading processes, that they just prefer to keep it raw. All right. And then again, there's nothing wrong with that. But me, I'm kind of like a creature of education, a creature of habit, and I just want to know more. So that's kind of like my motivation to send this one in, is to see, how close I am with grading gold as I am with, say, silver or nickel, because I seem to have the silver and nickel grading standards down correct, but gold can be completely different. Okay, what could look like one thing might be something else. So. There you go. That's what I have for my grading submission coming up next month. It's going to be a chance, possibly to see maybe one or two other coins drop in the mix. We'll see. And, I'm going to share the results with you guys as soon as I get it back. I'm going to say probably the end of February is what we're going to be looking at there as far as getting some of these back. But yeah, I mean, again, those are some of the coins, ladies and gentlemen, that I'm actively pursuing. I've had a lot of people contact me and say, hey, I got some of these coins you talk about on YouTube, and I want to sell them to you. Well, and I have to tell them, I don't buy those type of coins. I talk about them because that's what you guys want to know more about. And then when I go to talk about earlier classics like, Morgan dollars, I get no views on them. So, I'm sure there's going to be people that if I didn't add that last little part to it, and I say, well, that's what you guys want to watch is some of the newer coins and how they perform in the marketplace. There's going to be one or two or three or 10 people are going to say, well, you don't talk about the earlier stuff, so how are we going to know? Well, I do talk about them. And, it's, the numbers don't lie, right? If I put up these videos where I talk specifically about earlier typeset coins that I personally find more interesting, there's just not the viewer support there. So I just wanted to go out there and say that, yeah, it's kind of like a slap in the face, I'm sure, for me to say that, because there's going to be people that are going to say, well, I like the older coins, I prefer to see those, but it's like you and who else? You and what, 15 other people? And, as we all know, the YouTube content creator universe is a very kind of like, what have you done for me lately type of environment where, you got to make sure you're constantly on top of the trends. You got to talk about the current news. You got to talk about things that people want to hear and all that great stuff. So I'm just doing what, a lot of you folks and what the YouTube algorithm kind of like prefers in this case. One last little thing before I go. I do sell on Whatnot, okay? And I have my last coin auction tonight on the platform. I'm gonna call it like the stocking stuffer special. All the lots, all the coins start at $1, and then you just bid them up to whatever you think they're worth. There are people that have been getting crazy deals lately, so I would expect no less. Seeing as how we're 2 weeks away from Christmas. But these are things, folks, that you bid on them, you win them. I could get these out this week and then get them to your door just in time for Christmas, so that way you could negotiate giving gifts and, treating yourself, of course, because there's a lot of people that buy for themselves as well. And that's going to be my final Whatnot coin auction for the year. And then this Friday on the 15th, We have the Blue Ridge Silverhound full 100% giveaway event. So we're just giving away everything, and it's like that's my way of giving back to the community, to the Whatnot world, to the YouTube world. And we also have the live coin Q&A here on YouTube, that channel, the live coin Q&A holiday giveaway event on the 18th. That is next Monday. So we have a couple big giveaways. We got our last Whatnot show tonight with over 100 lots. It's going to be a very strong event, a lot of great bargains for everyone, and a lot of great coins too. So I hope to see you guys there. Thank you guys for tuning in on this video, and wish me luck in these this grading submission. I'm looking forward to it, and I hope you guys are too. So have a great day, and I'll check back with you later.